where Tish James, the Attorney General of New York, has now filed a civil fraud case against the Trump Organization, Donald Trump. I think it's also against Eric Trump, Don Jr., and Ivanka Trump, where she's going to allege that they committed some sort of a fraud. She's been sniffing around on this for the better part of a year. This is the case in which Trump asserted his Fifth Amendment rights not to testify at his deposition because he's accurate that she wants to come after him, and he chose not to give her any fodder. But anyway, so she's filed a case against him and his kids, trying to claim that they overstated the value of their assets in order to get better deals. I don't know. That'll play out. It's a civil case, again, not criminal. But at the same time, you got a poll coming out of Florida showing, for the first time I can remember, you guys are much closer to it, Trump is losing to DeSantis among GOP voters in Florida by 8 points, I think it is. I think it's 48% for DeSantis, 40% for Trump. And in January, it was the reverse. It was Trump 47 and DeSantis, I think 40. So it's been a 14, 15 point swing in Florida in favor of Ron DeSantis over Trump. So is the nonstop focus on Trump working? And is it working if it's working for, I don't know if it's working for Biden, but is it actually working for DeSantis?
Well, I think these are two separate issues, Megyn. The first issue, which concerns me a lot, and not even touching the substance of all of these various investigations or prosecutions against Trump entities, it is amazing to me that for somehow all of these things and what they're talking about with this latest litigation are things that happened like years, if not decades previous. It is amazing that all of this has all been sort of sitting around for as long as it has until within 100 days of an election.
Bingo.
All of a sudden, you have a deep concern about classified information that for a year and a half was apparently sitting at Mar-a-Lago, and nobody had any concern about it until 100 days before an election, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody, Tish James and all these various investigations into Donald Trump and his businesses, that's been around forever, but all of a sudden we're 60 days within an election and that becomes a big issue. If you're an American, and I don't care what your opinion is, if Donald Trump or anything else, if you're an American, boy, that feels an awful lot like a political agenda within the confines of our justice system. And there is nothing, and I mean nothing, more dangerous to the survival of our republic. And they like to talk about our democracy a lot over there. There is nothing more dangerous than the idea that the average American thinks that their government will prosecute you entirely with a political agenda if you just so happen to have some opinions they disagree with.
And I mean, I think that's the most clear-cut case that we have right here with Tish James, where, I mean, there was a video that went viral of in Manhattan, a guy is swinging a hatchet, attacking people inside of McDonald's. Okay.
Yes.
And now he's back out. He's back out on the streets. All right. But they're worried about how do we file cases against Republicans right during election season. That's the focus. Your job is supposed to be defending the public from criminals. And what they're trying to do is attack their political enemies. Her priorities are 100% based on politics, 0% based on what is good for the public of New York. People there every day are dealing with crime. It's unspeakable. Like when you go to New York City, it's still to this day a shell of its former self. It still hasn't come back.
Disgusting right now.
People there are terrified.
Well, and speaking of focus, and I think this answers the second part of your question, Megyn, the reason why Ron DeSantis, I think, is sort of going up in these national polls for 2024 is because of his focus, right? He is focusing on all of the issues that animate the Republican Party, and he's actually fighting and winning on these issues. You look at issues like schools, you look at issues like immigration, and he has that sort of combative nature to him where he's taking on the media in a way that, frankly, a lot of Republicans have failed at. That they've accepted the framing of
don't you find it extraordinary that in Florida, Trump would be losing to DeSantis? I realize DeSantis is governor of Florida, but Trump is, he's at Mar-a-Lago. It's like, that seems to me like deep Trump territory.
I think
it does seem to me there's a way forward for DeSantis if these numbers are real. Go ahead, Smug.
I think just as Duncan described, like DeSantis has a huge advantage in the sense that he's in a position as the governor of Florida to be able to take on these issues, but it's a lot of credit to him that he is completely focused on these issues. What matters to the people, what matters to the voters of Florida, he's going head on right after. Like every story that you read about Ron DeSantis is not about Ron DeSantis. It's about Ron DeSantis did this thing. And the thing that he did is attacking an issue that the voters in Florida are concerned with.
Well, that's exactly right. One of the great things that Donald Trump did for our party was show so many people how to fight, how to take it to the press, how to take it to the enemies. And what Ron DeSantis is doing right now is just that. And he's leading, he's showing people. And, Megyn, in journalism, it's so much more powerful to show than to tell. And that's what Ron DeSantis seems to be doing over and over and over again. It's sort of like what Trump did over and over and over again in 2015.
There's also this old maxim in politics where you're never going to have a successful case to voters by focusing on the rearview mirror, right? Almost everybody looks forward either to change or to help build on something they agree with. It's always a perspective vision, right? And I've said this for over a year now with former President Trump. His omni-focus on the 2020 election will gradually become more and more out of step with even Republican voters who agree with him on the case that he's making, because things change, right? The economy becomes extremely critical to middle-class families and trying to figure out how you're going to pay for groceries, right? Illegal immigration is something that, if you're not a border town, dealing with an opioid epidemic or human trafficking is a real issue. So, and some of these cultural things that DeSantis has talked about with Disney and with the schools and everything in Florida, like all of those things are experiences that people are living in real time, right? And that is so much more powerful to your average individual voter than something that happened 2 years ago and you feel crummy about.
If you're like me, you are growing more and more concerned about the future. The market's all over the place. Inflation, highest level in 40 years. Interest rates are skyrocketing. Market experts are using the word recession and terms like economic hurricane and unprecedented. Not good. If you want to protect your future, call a precious metal dealer I trust. American Hartford Gold. They can show you how to protect your saving and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. All it takes to get started is a short phone call, and they will have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or inside your IRA or 401k. And they keep it simple. They are the highest rated firm in the country with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and thousands of satisfied clients. And as an exclusive offer for my fans, if you call them right now, they're going to give you up to $1,500 of free silver and a free safe too on qualifying orders. Don't wait. Call now. Call 866-518-2955. That's 866-518-2955 or text Megyn, MEGYN, to 65532. Again, call 866-518-2955 or text Megyn to 65532. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.